super excited to have you all here today. So my name is Sharon Wanjiru Ngugi, and today we have a phenomenal woman with us. She's the CEO and founder of Ndovu, and we are going to have her speak to us about her journey. She is a mom, she is an entrepreneur, just trying to juggle between all of these things and still, continue to shine even in your journey in entrepreneurship. So clap for her, she comes to speak.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Can everyone hear me? Wonderful. So a bit about myself. I'm Kenyan born and raised. I grew up in South B, if any of you know that place. That was back in the day when all the Muindis used to live in South B. So Muindis, for those of you who don't know, is Indian in Swahili. And I had obviously had the opportunity to study here, but then go to university in London and then work at Deloitte as an investment consultant. So from the very beginning, I was interested in money. So growing up, I always knew that entrepreneurship was in my blood, but I didn't know what to do. So what I looked at was my skill set, and I'd encourage everybody to look at your skill set. So what are you good at? What do you enjoy? And then from those two things, what will make you a lot of money? Because this journey is really hard, and we should all be rewarded for it at the end of it. And so if you start a small business like selling artwork, it takes the same amount of effort than it does to build a unicorn. So you might as well aim for the stars, otherwise why are we here, right? Guys, the power of networking is one of the best things I learned at Deloitte. Never say no to a coffee, you just don't know where it's gonna lead to, and always be okay to ask for a coffee. So if you are excited by somebody who works in a neighboring company at Nairobi garage, you've bumped into them at the coffee station, say, hey, let's grab a drink, and learn and look for opportunities within that. So here's a Mzungu who's so-called Kenyan has come back and doesn't understand business language. I recognize my weaknesses. I have no idea how the financial market works in Kenya. My Swahili is terrible, but I can speak it, so you guys will understand, and I'm not going to speak it. And I knew I wanted to start a business, but I've only had 15 years of corporate experience. So going back, I said, okay, I've got these years of experience. I met with lots of people, and I realized that actually in Kenya, I can't believe you need to have a lot of money to invest in global markets. And because I come from that space, I understand the value of it, and I realized that actually Kenyans have become so good at saving. They don't know how to invest though, because none of us have been taught at school. So I said, what's the quickest way to learn how to set up a business? So I did some research, and there was an accelerator program called Antler, which you probably have heard of. And essentially what they do is they bring like-minded individuals who have domain expertise, so they've really focused in an area in their career, in a room. You don't need to have an idea, but they say, why don't you get into groups and try and problem solve the actual problem that you're looking to solve. So look for a problem, see if it's deep enough. And then I got started. And the team that I'm with today, so what they do is these design sprints. They put you, say, solve for M-Pesa, and there was 4 of us. 2 of them are my co-founders today, and we just worked perfectly. We were more interested in getting to know each other rather than doing the exercise that we finished in 2 minutes because we knew we weren't being graded. So we're like, let's do it. And actually, that's the dynamic you want, people that you can actually get on with. And so we go through Antler. We don't get funding from Antler because they said that they don't think that we would get regulation. I said, yeah, but you don't know who my co-founder is. Radhika Bhachu. He's had 20 years of experience working at the head of Nairobi Securities Exchange. So I picked the right person. That was my gap. I didn't know regulation and I didn't have a network. So I said, that's my weakness. I'm going to find somebody like that. And the thing about setting up a business, you just have to trust your gut. A lot of the feelings at that time, if I look back, was I'm starting a business, it's like getting into a marriage. Are these good people? I've just met them on the program. You do your paperwork, you do your diligence, and then you say, right, we're going to work together to get where we need to get to. But you need to get on a personal level. So where we are today in terms of Ndovu, we've been live for over 16 months publicly. We're first fintech in Kenya to be licensed as a fund manager, thanks to Ro. We have over 35,000 users. We've processed $6.1 million of people investing onto our platform. We've just signed a partnership, but we're finalizing integration with a huge telco, which gives us access to over 110 million Africans across Africa. We have signed a financial bank. We've pivoted a little bit. And so the journey has been full of ups and downs. And so where we are today is that we are now growing, we're expanding. Every day is a roller coaster. But essentially, we know where we're going as a team. But there's some challenges when it comes to starting a business. Now, a lot of you probably don't know how to fundraise. Again, understand your strengths. Just because you are the CEO but you don't know how to pitch, but you have a chief operations officer that's better with people, understand your strengths. You should be there, but you shouldn't be leading the pitch. So 3 fundraising tips. Number 1, always get an introduction. Okay, so warm introduction. Guys, your network, like they always say, your network is your net worth. And people in this ecosystem are super friendly. Use that to your ability. 2, make sure your deck is crisp. Have a strong team and be honest with yourself. What am I missing? And go out and interview people, have coffees and say, hey, I hear you're really good at this. Tell me more about you. The other thing about investors, when you're doing your fundraise, do not come across desperate. It's a song and a dance. Just imagine you're trying to court a lady or a man. That's what investing is. Obviously, you need to know your numbers, you need to have your pitch right, but your team is the most important, because at that stage you have nothing but the team. So make sure you pick your team well and highlight the key skills that are going to get you there. That's all. And it's just sometimes trusting your gut as well is super important. But yeah, as an entrepreneurial, you just need to remember, when you're building a business, you're thinking about financials, sales, customer service, compliance, operations, and you can't do it on your own, so make sure you hire well and have conversations. When I don't know anything, I have a founders group. They're great companies that we're ahead of us in terms of fundraising. I'm like, hey guys, having a challenge with this, voice note them, doesn't have to be long. What do you think about this? What would you do in this situation? Everyone throws in the ideas, you've got a solution in 5 minutes. What is the path of least resistance to get where you're going? Share your ideas with people. There's no harm getting feedback. Put your product in the user's hand and make it as simple as possible. Google is a search bar. Shit, that's pretty impressive. It's just a search bar. That's simplicity, right? Oh shit, you want to search for it? It's just a search bar. I mean, they've got AI now coming for them, but that's how simple your product needs to be. If you can't explain it to your mum, it's not simple enough. And lastly, I would say, when you're setting up a business, do it wholeheartedly. Do not do it with half leg in and half leg out. You're not going to do anything great. You might as well not do it. You might as well chill, be at work, be really good at what you do at work. But if you're going to do this, it's a hard journey, and just make sure you're fully committed to what you're doing. The founders that I know that kind of did it half-assed, they're not even around anymore. And that means waking up at 5 a.m. and sometimes finishing at 2 a.m. And that's okay, because it's a sacrifice you're making for your future.
What do you think is the key thing that makes your business stand out from everyone? And say, what strategies are you going to be putting in place to increase the amount of impact you're having on your users? Thank you.
For me, social impact, if somebody taps me on their shoulder 7 years from now and say, hey, I started saving for my children's education because I watched a social media video, and actually I can send them to Harvard. I just keep picking Harvard because it's on my mind right now, but I can send them to a university and I don't have to worry about financial education. And so guys, if any of you have children in a room, if you just simply put 5,000 shillings a month now when they're 2 for 18 years in an S&P 500, which is the blue chip fund or the technology fund, when they come to 18, you don't need to even put a penny to pay for school fees. So that for me is social impact. So we won, so today we had a visa competition, we won $10,000. And I'm putting that $10,000 actually because Sharon was like, can we put it towards financial education? So we're going to create an e-guide, short videos, And then, by the way, that's smart because I can go back to Visa and say, hey, listen, we want 10K from you. This is the financial inclusion impact we're doing. Who do you know is in this space? Can we get some grant money? They'll be like, yeah, oh my God, this is incredible. Let me introduce you to MasterCard. And this is how it works, actually. So you also need to just be smart in the way you're using your prize money as well and how you're communicating.
This is more of a personal question.
Sure.
How would you advise or which career path would somebody, just starting off in the finance industry, how would we get to such a level as you and your co-founders?
So I think the advice, this is how corporate works, and you get into a company and you latch on to someone that's going somewhere. Literally, that's how corporate works. So got into Deloitte, I looked at my team. In fact, I had a cousin who had a friend who was in the same space. I had a coffee with him. I said, hey, how can I be successful with the least amount of work in this place? I'm a bit lazy. And they were like, just latch on to somebody who is doing really well. And I said, what do you mean by latch on? What does that even mean? He was like, listen, you are there to make their life easier. So when they ask for somebody, this is all it takes. And I tell my team this all the time. All it takes is, hey guys, so they'll say, hey guys, I'm running a new project. I need someone to run point on this. Yeah, I'll do it. Okay, but what does it need me to do? Okay, great. It's like being smart about when you send emails. You might have drafted the email in the day, but you're sending it at 8 p.m. because in corporate, that's the stuff that matters. It's not, and of course, there's so much to it because you're learning. The more you say yes to those opportunities and you come across as if you're eager to learn, that person who's going somewhere would see themselves in you. I can tell you in my team who I know I'm going to keep forever. I know already. And it's because they just do, like if they're going to leave, I'm going to give them more equity. Like that, because I know they go above and beyond and it's never a complaint. They're there because they want to be there. And honestly, that's all it takes for corporate. And because you're in the room, you're learning. Experience is everything. The conversations that are not documented is where you actually learn the most. So if I was you, I would even take a job as a coffee person at an asset manager and say, hey, listen, I'm happy to do this. And then find someone who's looks like they're willing to help you. If you want to get into finance, send us your CV and just say, I don't know what level you are, but send us your CV and say, hey, this is how I think I can add to your team. We give internships all the time. Because I'm like, if you can prove to me you can learn and you can grow, I'll hire you. Yeah, so that's how I would deal with it. And I would ask my aunties and uncles to make introductions, for sure.
Wow, thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
Thank you, everyone.